morning, everyone, and welcome to the monthly Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce virtual breakfast meeting. My name is John Burlingham. I'm the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. At this time, we'd like to ask everyone to stand and join us in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning again, and thank you for joining us today. Despite the fact that we are still unable to meet and network in person, your Chamber of Commerce is offering more opportunities for our members to promote their businesses. Be sure to join us for our next business card exchange to be held on Zoom this Friday, February 26th, starting at 9 a.m. Business card exchanges give members a chance to meet other local business leaders in this new virtual world and make important contacts. We will be live streaming this great event on our Facebook page, thanks to our sponsor, Hudson Valley Credit Union. As many of you may remember, the pandemic caused the Chamber to cancel at the very last minute our annual St. Patrick's Day breakfast at the Best Western Plus in 2020. By the way, we believe that this is the first breakfast we've had to cancel in more than 50 years. This year, we're determined to celebrate St. Paddy's Day in grand style. We'll have music entertainment all morning long with the Tea McCann Band playing all your Irish favorites. We'll have the pipes and drums from the Ulster County Ancient Order of Hibernians, and we cap off the morning with the surprise naming of the 2021 Honorary Irish Person of the Year. While we still can't meet in public, we invite you to join us March 17th at 9 a.m. virtually as we live stream our Facebook page and on YouTube with technical support from Radio Kingston. Again, that's Wednesday, March 17th, our annual Peter B. Matthews virtual St. Patrick's Breakfast meeting. Our sponsor for this great event is, as always, the Reese Group. It is our hope that sometime later this year, the Chamber will be able to return to in-person meetings, whether virtual or in person, you can be certain that the Chamber of Commerce will again be hosting both a Buy Local Expo and a Business Recognition Award celebration later this year. So please mark down and save these dates. Our expo will take place starting at noon, September 15th, and the Business Award celebration will start at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 21st. The Business Award nomination form is already up on our website if you know of a deserving local business leader, or organization. For all these events, you can find more information at ulsterchamber.org, and that's where you'll also be able to view all the videos from past events, which are archived on our homepage. Now, with the rest of our program this morning, here's Ward Todd.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us this morning. A special thank you to our guest speakers, State Senator Michelle Hinchey and State Assemblyman Kevin Cahill. We're looking forward to hearing from both of you in just a little bit. And also a very special thanks to our sponsor today, Catskill Hudson Bank. It's been a very active new year for the Chamber's amazing membership team, Carol Ricken and Jess Davis, and our hardworking Chamber ambassadors. Jess, we'd like to have you come on up if you would right now and officially welcome some great new members of the Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Jess?
Good morning, Ulster County. I'm a little bit shorter than you here, Ward. I am so excited to be with all of you this morning, and I am so excited to be welcoming new members yet again. So I will just get started with Adriana's Bridal, which is located in the village of Rhinebeck. Congrats to Addie Perusa. We were just there for a ribbon cutting, beautiful space. Next up is our First Capital Poke Bar, located right here in Uptown Kingston on Wall Street. Congrats to Max on your grand opening. Next up is a special new member, Mentor Me of Ulster County, Stephanie Doyle, and she's looking for mentors to mentee the young in our area that are at risk and in need of a wonderful, strong leader to help them along the way. So if you're interested in Mentor Me, there are sponsorship opportunities, and also you can give your time to the youth. Next up is Nxg Insurance Group. I saw Jeff Schaller. He's a local representative for Nxg Insurance, and he's joined us this morning. We welcome you. Peace, Love, and Jerky Treats. Deb Bone, you probably know her from local markets. She is keeping all of our furry friends happy with Peace, Love, and Jerky Treats, and you can follow her on Facebook. We are proud to welcome Scenic Hudson, and they are launching a new project down on the waterfront. So be sure to follow them on Facebook to learn about all of the things that are happening with Scenic Hudson. And we're going to take it out to the town of Wawarsing and welcome the Paper Mill Restaurant. It's formerly the White Wolf. Everyone asks where it is, what it is. Beautiful space, an event venue, indoors, outdoors. They're very excited to be opening and ready for warm weather and sunny days. And last but not least, we've got the Mazzella family joining both Village Bagels. You've probably seen all of the posts about Village Bagels in the village of Saugerties. People are very excited. They have the everything egg bagel. I think that's what they're already known for. And Village Pizza, who is celebrating 50 years in the village of Saugerties, will be at both of those locations for a ribbon cutting in the coming months. I just wanted to finish with thanking you all for coming on board with us, new members, and also those that are renewing members and longtime members. If you are a business or an organization in Ulster County and you are not yet a member, we want to welcome you. We want to invite you. You can call me at the office here. It's 338-5100. You can email me at jess@ulsterchamber.org. You can message me on Messenger on Facebook, and I am happy to direct you to our website. It's ulsterchamber.org. You can see all of the fun and exciting things that we do to support small business in our community. And last but not least, if you have not yet joined our popular Facebook groups, Ulster Small Businesses United and Ulster Eateries United, yet, please do so. And also, please use those to share with our community what's happening in your local business or organization. Have a great day, and I cannot wait to see you all next month at my most favorite breakfast of the year with the Ulster Chamber.
Thank you, Jess. Thanks for your work. And yeah, next month we'll be having a lot of fun with the T. McCann Band, among others. We are delighted to welcome our sponsor this morning. We have had such a good time over the years talking with our good friend Kevin Mclaren and all the great staff. And we are delighted that Catskill Hudson Bank is today's breakfast sponsor. They now have 11 branches to serve you, including 9 in the Mid-Hudson region and 2 in the Capital District. Their corporate offices are located at 95 Schwenk Drive in Kingston, with the Kingston branch located at 101 Kings Mall Court in the town of Ulster. If you're looking for a local community bank that will work with your individual and business needs, Catskill Hudson Bank is here for you. They can provide extra financial muscle for your business, help you turn your house into your dream home, or save for retirement, and also offer their competitive simple mortgage product to meet your residential mortgage needs. Catskill Hudson Bank is a community-minded, technology-focused financial organization. Utilizing the latest technology, they offer traditional online and mobile banking services to both consumers and businesses. Catskill Hudson Bank takes pride in their network being recognized as one of the most secure in the industry. Simply better banking. And with that, we would like to welcome Catskill Hudson Bank President Kevin Mclaren with us this morning. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Ward. Thank you so much for those kind words. Nobody does it better, so thank you. Good morning and welcome to the virtual breakfast. Words we were not familiar with even 1 year ago today, but are representative of just one of the many ways we all have had to adapt to meet the challenges due to the pandemic. I thought we'd have a little fun today. Before we start, we'll do a drawing today If you simply send a comment to the chamber mentioning Catskill Hudson Bank, you will be entered. The chamber will draw 5 names at random, and each will receive a $50 gift certificate to the chamber member of their choice. It's just our way of saying thank you for attending today. So best of luck to everyone. Like all of you, I look forward to the day we can once again all meet in person. The toll on the economy and on all of us in general has been huge, and we desperately need that return to normalcy. On a somewhat lighter note, I'm not a big breakfast eater. Typically at the breakfast, I would have eggs, sausage, and home fries. This is a poor substitute. So amongst the many reasons I look forward to getting back, that is one of them. As we ease into 2021, each day we are closer to the end of the pandemic, and the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter. It is only through the generosity and spirit of so many that the county has been able to survive the seemingly insurmountable challenges posed by the pandemic. Problems that have no blueprint or manual to consult. We've all had to adapt and change how we do business, and some of these changes will continue post-COVID as we find new ways to deliver our services. However, it is this willingness and desire to change, and in spite of the challenges, continue to push through adversity, that defines what Ulster County is all about. Like you, I look forward to the day when we can go out to any one of our many outstanding local restaurants, not have to wear a mask, not have to sit next to a portable heater. We can once again enjoy and experience live music and all that the Hudson Valley has to offer. A kind of magical moment when you first walk into UPAC or leave on Helm Studios or any of the other great venues or natural attractions we have locally. The list is long and one we can be proud of. Our industry, like all others, has had its share of challenges. We've had to adapt to the pandemic and change how we deliver our services. We were fortunate to be able to extend, at this point, several hundred Paycheck Protection Program loans to local businesses. And this is a critical piece in keeping so many of our small businesses going. However, as a true community bank, we will not change our goal, regardless of how we do it, of delivering the highest level of products and services to our customers. As I am prone to say, if we don't do it, someone else will. We are fortunate and appreciative for our customers who give us the opportunity to work with and for them. As Ward so eloquently put, Catskill Hudson Bank offers commercial and residential loan and deposit products, along with traditional consumer banking products, including online and mobile banking. We are a true community bank where decisions are made locally from our offices right here on Schwenk Drive. Our branch manager in our Kings Mall office is B.A. Feeney, who I know is a familiar name and face to many of us. Now I'm going to do a little audible here. The first person who sends in a comment the correct original name of what is now called the Kings Mall will get a $50 gift certificate to the chamber member of their choice. I confirmed earlier today my recollection, and it was correct. So good luck. Our commercial loans are handled locally by Steve Sickler, who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to that position, and again works right here out of our Schwenk Drive corporate office. We also offer residential mortgages and have a very knowledgeable group who can help maneuver you through what will probably be for many the largest financial transaction of their life. As the industry continues to be plagued by fraud and loss of customer data, we're proud of our advanced network capabilities and our ability to safeguard our customers' sensitive financial information. So whether it's growing your business or building your dream home, we are here to help you do that. And we strive to deliver on our motto of simply better banking. Thanks again to the Chamber for allowing us this opportunity. And I wish all of you much success going forward. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so very much for your support of the Chamber of Commerce and for your sponsorship of our breakfast meeting this morning. Still waiting for a correct answer to what used to be the Kings Mall, the prior name.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get on that. Now on to our program. We've asked our local Assemblyman Kevin Cahill and State Senator Michelle Hinchey to give us an Albany update this morning. So we'll welcome them first and then have a conversation with questions from you, our viewers, as you post them on Facebook today. We invite you to post them during the next several minutes. We'll get to as many as time permits this morning. First, we want to welcome Assemblyman Cahill. Kevin, good morning. Thanks for joining us on the program today. I want to, before we ask for your comments about some of the important legislative initiatives underway in Albany today, just to get a little bit of perspective from you in the last year with the pandemic. How has the State Assembly been functioning just procedurally? I've got to assume it's difficult not seeing as many people face to face and being able to have conversations about initiatives and amendments to legislation, that kind of procedural work. Give us your comments.
Well, Ward, on that score, I'm using and hello everybody. I'm using the Surface tablet that I use to conduct business with the state legislature. Later on today, we'll be in virtual session here. We communicate through Zoom mostly, but we also, the telephone has become an even more important device. I do go up to Albany regularly, just like Michelle does, and we still have an opportunity to talk, but you're absolutely right. The loss of the human interrelationships, the contacts that we have, the sitting and having a cup of coffee with somebody to discuss an issue has been a great loss. And in particular, I feel for freshmen, people who are starting this year, to not have had that experience. I remember my first year in the Assembly. And as a matter of fact, I was going to mention that Kevin's Bank has an office near where my first district office was. My office was in the Deegan building on Schwank Drive. And I know that's where Catskill Bank had a branch. But mostly it was in Albany. And I got to see a lot of people and make some lifelong friends, some of whom I still work with, many of whom have moved on to other purposes. But it is a difficult time. We are all very much looking forward to getting back. So, Ward, if you don't mind, I'll just read off a couple of quick things because I know there's a lot to get to. The good news about the virtual setting, of course, is that that I can't hear the audience not laughing at my jokes. Which is always a bad thing, but it's a good thing that I can't hear them today. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Yes, sir, please.
Terrific. So thank you, Ward, and John in particular, Jess and Kevin for having us here today. I note when I was mentioning the Deegan building, I note the passing of Jack Deegan, who was a regular at your breakfasts. He was a terrific booster of Kingston. He was sort of a little bit of a curmudgeon, never mind telling us what was on his mind. I'm pretty sure he never voted for me, but he was never shy about sharing his views. And I really respected all that he did in Kingston and all that he did to boost Kingston, especially when we were on the ropes after the departure of IBM. Jack really stepped up. So rest in peace, Jack. And also rest in peace, all the other folks who we lost this year. It seems like every single day we hear about another person who has moved on because of COVID or other reasons, and I'll get back to that in a moment. But let me start with the budget. The legislature is in the middle of budget deliberations. The governor proposed a $178 billion budget, $106 billion of which we used for what we call state operations. There's about $28.5 billion for schools. It's about $805 million more than last year. $7.8 billion for higher education, significant funding for Medicaid, public protection, environmental protection, transportation, agriculture, local assistance, and a variety of other purposes. I said it was $178 billion because that number is likely to change this week as the governor will offer his first set of budget amendments and will start to include estimated federal assistance related to COVID-19. We expect about $12.5 billion from the federal government in unrestricted state aid, about $10 billion for our municipalities, a similar amount for education, a large infusion for public transportation, and we don't yet know what assistance the feds will offer for private businesses, for homeowners and renters. But all in all, it appears that the federal government is really stepping up and helping us get back to normal. And normal is where we want to be. Finally, the infection rates seem to be dropping, and here in Ulster County, today's news is good news. And if you believe slightly more than half of the experts, that drop is an actual trend that should signal the end of COVID as we know it. Couple that with significantly increasing numbers of people who've been vaccinated, over 3 million New Yorkers already. And honestly, seriously, there is cause for optimism. But it certainly hasn't been easy. We know 15,000 people in nursing homes lose their lives to COVID, with almost 38,000 of New Yorkers succumbing overall. This is a tragedy that will scar us for years and years to come. And add to that the folks who are horribly sick and still have lingering after effects in the human scale is just astounding. The impact on business has been mixed, but in certain sectors, it has been absolutely devastating. Restaurants and the entertainment industry, tourism were hit the hardest. Broadway has been dark for a full year. Thousands are out of work. Billions of tourist dollars and arts dollars are lost. Restaurants were closed or operating at less than capacity or had to significantly modify their premises at great expense. So the toll in that industry is still unknown. We had unemployment numbers, the likes of which most of us have not seen in our lifetimes. Some of that employment has rebounded, but we have a long way to go to get stable again. We saw hunger, we saw homelessness, we saw suicide rise, and even some crime go up. This has certainly not been an easy time. We saw our schools become food suppliers, our gyms become vaccination sites, and our communities completely transform. What we didn't see was the Marys Avenue campus of Health Alliance of the Hudson Valley become an overflow COVID center. In spite of that, we lost our one of our most important local assets, the Benedictine Inpatient Mental Health Facility, Behavioral Health Facility. We've been fighting very hard to get that facility restored. We continue in discussions and with inquiries to both the Westchester Medical Center and our state regulators, trying to get straight answers and get that great community asset back. But so far, it's been a futile effort. We're going to continue. We're right now determining what our rights are as a community and doing all that we can to restore that important asset just as soon as possible. Let me talk briefly about constituent services. My office was transformed very early in this pandemic into a satellite of the Department of Labor, handling well over 600 and resolving well over 500 unemployment cases that were otherwise circumstances where the applicant had hit the wall. We were able to work with specific representatives in the Department of Labor, folks in the Assembly that were able to help us. And I'm very happy to say that most of those folks got the benefits that they deserved and that they needed. We also put together a series of questions and answers that are available to this day on our website, updated on a regular basis, to answer some of the tough questions that people had during this pandemic. We wanted to let you know where the programs were, how you could navigate your health insurance, what to do about unemployment insurance, and so much more, particularly areas of food security and federal assistance. We served as liaison in the Information Center for all things COVID, and we continued at the same time to do everything else that we always do. So what we usually do is help people navigate their health insurance. We help assist them with interactions with government agencies. We answer questions and basically serve as the front door and the place of last resort for people looking for help from their government. So let me transition here to talk about a little bit about Albany very quickly. I've always had a terrific relationship with my Senate colleagues. In the past, I worked with Charlie Cook and Billy Larkin and John Bonasek and Steve Saland. Then I had the great pleasure of working with Jen Metzger for 2 years. I hope to have that opportunity again soon. I worked with Sue Serino, Jim Seward, and George Amador, and now I have the great pleasure of working with Michelle Hinchey. Michelle's focus on agriculture is as important to our community as her dad's trailblazing expertise on the environment was over the last half a century. Her enthusiasm and her energy are infectious, and already she's making a terrific difference in Albany. She's also part of a solid majority grounded in progressive ideals and filled with hardworking, smart people. And finally, we in the Assembly have a full partner with our Senate colleagues. These past 2 years have been among the most rewarding for me personally in the state legislature. And this year, even with all of our challenges, even with all the issues and serious concerns we're dealing with, is shaping up to be just as fulfilling and productive. I saved a few issues for the question and answer portion. I know there's an interest in legalization of marijuana. I'm sure some people have some questions about what's going on with the governor and the legislature. But I wanted to save something for the question and answer portion. And I would like to ask if you would just allow me one little personal moment. I'm pretty sure she isn't watching today, but I'd like to wish my mom a happy 39th plus 55th birthday. For those of you who know her, I can assure you that she is as feisty today at age 94 as she was when she was ruling over City Hall in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. So with all that, Ward, back to you, and thank you. And I look forward to your questions, and I certainly look forward to hearing what my colleague, Senator Michelle Hinchey, has to say. Thanks, everybody.
Kevin, thank you so much. And we join in wishing Mary Alice a very happy birthday. What a sweetheart she is. Thanks for that, Kevin. And we're delighted to have with us today newly elected New York State Senator Michelle Hinchey. And I think Michelle actually gave you the better introduction than I ever could. So I thank you for being with us today. Belated congratulations on your election. Thank you so much for being with us. And as you are now in Albany working on legislative issues of importance, share, if you would, with our viewers, what's important in your mind in terms of legislation for the coming year. Good morning.
Good morning. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ward, for having us today and for bringing all of us together for this update. And of course, I always love the Chamber's now virtual breakfast, but it's really a pleasure to be here in this capacity. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out a thank you to Jess as well, the Ulster County Restaurants Initiative that you have run so flawlessly. It's really incredible. Every time I log on to Facebook, I get very excited to see which restaurant is going to be highlighted today. And some, I read and I say, oh yeah, I just had that for dinner. Absolutely, they're delicious. And other ones I add to my list. So thank you for that resource during this time. And thank you also to my wonderful new colleague, Assemblyman Kevin Cahill. It is such an honor to work in partnership with you now to represent Ulster County and our entire surrounding region. It's really great to learn from you and to work with you and to see all the work that you've done and now be able to be that partner for the 46th District. It's really great. So thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do. And to Kevin Mclaren, thank you for everything that Ulster County or Catskill Hudson Bank has done for the community this year. It's been a really challenging time, and to hear the numbers of the PPP loans and others, thank you for being that resource. As Ward and the Assemblyman have said, and most of you probably know, I am the new state senator for the 46th District, which includes all of Greene and Montgomery counties and good parts of Albany, Schenectady, and Ulster counties. It is the most rural district in the majority conference, spanning 150 miles with over 1,000 farms. I also had the great honor of chairing the Senate Agriculture Committee, which we have rebranded informally, but formally to me, as the Agriculture and Food Committee, to help New Yorkers really connect the dots on the importance of our state's ag sector, which provides quite literally the food on our plates that sustains us. Our local farm businesses are small businesses, and our goal is to bring increased attention and support to this vital sector of our economy. I'm also excited to serve on the Commerce, Economic Development, and Small Business Committee, the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, and the Cultural Affairs, Tourism, Parks, and Recreation Committee, among some others, all of which are incredibly important to help us build back our local economies in Ulster and across the state. Before I mention a few legislative items, we of course have to take a moment, as the Assemblyman did, to talk about COVID-19, the pandemic that opened the floodgates to a series of overlapping crises, health crisis and an economic crisis that has uprooted our way of life and effectively driven our economy to a screeching halt. I know that this has been an unimaginably difficult time for our small businesses, for business owners, employees, and their families, but you all have been truly the backbone of our community, donating meals to those in need, and pivoting to making PPE when we couldn't get enough supply. So thank you for all you have done to help us and to really sustain our communities during this very unprecedented time. Since taking office, my team and I have hit the ground running. It's only been about 6 weeks, but it feels a little bit like an eternity already. Our biggest concern, of course, has been on the district and helping people get through this challenging time. We've been helping people access their unemployment benefits and providing farmers, business owners, and residents in need with the information and resources to navigate the difficult issues. And while our office is currently closed to in-person appointments, we're operating fully remotely and available to assist during regular business hours. Last week, we launched virtual office hours so that constituents can meet one-on-one and face-to-face, so to speak, with our constituent services team. We'll be adding more upcoming dates in Ulster County in the coming weeks, so be on the lookout for that. We want both our local business owners and their employees to consider our office a resource. We're going to drop our contact details in the comments in the section below on Facebook Live, so you have it. If there's anything we can do, please reach out. These details are also available on our Senate website, which is hinchey.nysenate.gov. We're also working diligently on the legislative side. Late last month, we took action in the state Senate on a number of bills to support our business community. The legislative package, which extends eviction and foreclosure protections to commercial properties and seeks to promote the shared work eligibility program, freeze unemployment insurance rates, and establish a partial unemployment system, among other protections. These bills are part of an ongoing effort by the state legislature to help workers and small businesses rebuild our economy. At the same time, we need to keep up the pressure on our federal representatives to provide us with the direct relief we so desperately need. We'll be working at the state level to make sure that we continue to support our small businesses for a just economic recovery. And we're also focused on passing legislation that will help us raise revenue so that we can fully invest in our communities. On the topic of revenue generators, the cannabis industry presents a huge opportunity for our state and for our local farmers, processors, and entrepreneurs. This industry is a revenue generator and a job creator. And if we do it right, we can expand markets for those in our farming community looking to diversify and make way for new business opportunities right here across the county. Legalization can and should be a key part of our discussion on COVID-19 recovery strategies. And I'm sure we will have some questions about those as we go. And if we have any farm businesses listening to our meeting today or anyone interested in the ag community, I want to mention a few bills that I sponsor that will support our farming community. We've introduced several bills to alleviate the heavy tax burden on our farmers, including a bill to increase farmer eligibility for the Farmers School Property Tax Credit Program, and a bill to double the Farm Labor Retention Tax Credit from $600 to $1,200. Which will provide relief to farmers on labor costs and help make sure that they can hire and retain the workers that they need. We're also working on a bill to make the state's Farm to Food Bank program, Nourish New York, permanent. This innovative state program, which was a silver lining of the COVID-19 pandemic, supports our farms while providing healthy, fresh food to people experiencing food insecurity. And we need to make it easier in general for New Yorkers to access fresh, locally grown New York produce and dairy products, which is why we are developing legislation to expand farm-to-school opportunities across the state and are looking to bring that concept to other institutions as well. Another key priority of mine centers around agritourism and recognizing this industry as a valuable tool for upstate economic revitalization. We want to deepen the intersection between local agriculture and our tourism economy, which includes bolstering support for our unique farm wineries, breweries, and distilleries. These are the gems that draw people to our region, and we need to make sure they have the tools and guidance they need to reopen safely. And as we all know, our state faces severe revenue shortfall because of the pandemic, which is going to make this year's budget process, as the Assemblyman touched on, incredibly challenging. One thing is for certain, though, an austerity budget is not going to save our economy. We cannot stop investing in our people and our upstate infrastructure. Our hospitals, schools, first responders, and local governments should not and cannot bear the brunt of this crisis alone. That's why we need to take matters into our own hands and advance creative revenue measures at the state level. In addition to legalizing adult use cannabis, I support mobile sports betting as another revenue generator, and I plan to work with my colleagues to advocate for this inclusion in the budget. We also need to bolster our transportation networks by increasing state investment in programs like CHIPS and extreme winter recovery. When we improve and maintain our local roads and infrastructure, it has a direct and positive impact on our economy. We need to help our highway departments take on the critical repair projects that move us toward a more reliable 21st century infrastructure system. And the same goes for our water infrastructure. If you heard us on the campaign trail, you know that water infrastructure is an issue very close to my heart because we have constituents today that in 2021 lack access to clean water and reliable service quality. This is a fundamental right, and we need to do better. Fixing our water infrastructure has been a huge priority of ours, and I'm proud to say that just last week, I introduced a bill to create the Safe Water Infrastructure Action Program, or better known as SWAP, which is designed to help our communities finance water system replacements and repairs through the state budget, similar to a CHIPS program. And lastly, we of course need to talk about broadband and the lack of access to high-speed internet across our state, which puts New York families and businesses at a severe disadvantage. We all deserve better than to have to cobble together an inadequate solution or spend upwards of $30,000 to get our homes and businesses wired. This is why we need to accurately identify the service gaps across our state and close them, which is why I'll be pushing for the Comprehensive Broadband Connectivity Act to pass as part of the state budget this year. It's been a challenging year, but I've always felt I've been really lucky to live and grow up in Ulster County, and I hope that you do too. So please remember that my office is always here to be a resource. We want to understand your priorities, your concerns, and your perspectives. So please reach out to us, ask us questions, and let us know how we can help. Thank you again, Ward and the Ulster County Chamber, for inviting me today, and I look forward to the continued discussion this morning.
Thank you again very much, Senator, and Kevin as well. We will bring Kevin back up, and we do have some questions on Facebook that we'd like to pose to both of you, and we can go back and forth, I guess, if that works. First one is, where is New York State with financially supporting the child care business community that's on the verge of closing due to low enrollment and working families who need additional child care during remote learning? For our two speakers this morning, Kevin?
Well, Ward, the good news is there is a portion of the federal assistance package dedicated specifically to childcare, well over $1 billion. That should help us jumpstart some of the programs that had already existed. We also are engaged in our office, and certainly with Michelle, in the Agribusiness Child Development Center. There's a site in Kingston that provides childcare for families of new immigrants who are in the agricultural community and the restaurant business. So we are very focused on improving childcare funding across the state. This federal assistance, well, although it's a one-shot, may provide an impetus for us to start in a brand new area there. I couldn't agree more. I have three grandkids who are remote learning some of the time, and it is a challenge to bounce them between houses because their moms work. So we recognize this as an issue, and like so many other things in COVID, it has exposed something in our society that needs to be addressed, and I think we have the attention of the legislature to do just that.
Michelle?
Yeah, I would add too, I really see the issue of increased childcare as a justice issue. This falls primarily on women to take care of children who are now having to leave their jobs or try to create other difficult situations during this moment. And so, one of the things that we've seen through this too, we've had a lot of conversations with different childcare organizations, and especially in our rural communities, we have to do better at supporting our rural childcare organizations, from things like not having access to direct deposit for payment from the state, right? Many of our communities in our rural communities are banking deserts, are deserts for many services. And so we make it really difficult for people to make a living in this space and to access, especially in this really challenging time, the money that they are owed, including the technicalities of having to file specific types of, kind of timesheets and accessory sheets. We've made it incredibly difficult. The burden should not be there should not be such a high a burden on people who are taking care of our children during this time. So I'm with Kevin. This is a critical priority for us, and we need to make sure that we're doing better.
Great, thank you so much. Michelle, this one is directed to you. Could you elaborate on a bill that you're a co-sponsor of, the Extended Producer Responsibility Act, Senate Bill 1185?
Absolutely. Really excited about this bill with Senator Kaminsky, who is the chair of the ENCON committee, the Environmental Conservation. One of the things also, if you heard us on the campaign, we talked a lot about the need for changing how we get rid of packaging and different types of waste. And this bill really does that. It puts the onus on the producer to figure out and pay for how we get rid of this extensive amount of waste that we've created, especially in packaging. So, I don't know about you, but when I order something online, I could order the smallest thing that comes in a massive box, right? And then that onus is on me to get rid of. And why does it come in such a big box? It's because it's easier for the producer, but it actually is worse for our planet and it's worse for people. So this is a bill that puts the onus to get rid of those types of packaging and products on the producer to be much more thoughtful about the kinds of things they're doing, so that we can start to really address the massive waste issue that we have in this country.
Okay. Is there an assembly bill, a matching bill, Kevin, in the assembly?
Well, I'll have to look at that when I get back to the office today. I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure there is. If Michelle is sponsoring it in the Senate, there's a lot of people lined up in the Assembly that want to co-sponsor her bills in the Assembly.
All right. So let's go back to cannabis legislation that was mentioned earlier. It sounds as if kind of a foregone conclusion this will be approved in the both houses this year. Is that correct? Do we think?
Michelle, you want to start?
Sure. I mean, we're really excited about it. There's the MRTA in the legislature, and we actually just did a presentation on this yesterday for our conference. And now is the time, right? I mean, we need to be. I again talked a lot about this too. Not only from the side that we should be passing this and legalizing it, but the economic opportunity that it has specifically for upstate New York, especially as we think about things like industrialized hemp. To really drive and create new businesses in our communities. So there's definitely a lot of excitement and appetite to pass it. I'm very hopeful that we can. We're doing everything we can to push it forward. And working very closely with the sponsors bill in our House, Senator Kruger and others. We just had a meeting with her on Friday about this topic and what we could do to make sure that we get it over the finish line.
And Kevin, it's been approved in the House before, right? In the Assembly, prior years?
We've taken it up several times. Crystal Stokes, our majority leader, is the sponsor in our House, along with Liz in the Senate of the same bill. The governor's proposal is really a revenue-focused proposal, and that's a different approach than we wish to take. It's been our position and remains our position that if we look at the legalization of marijuana as something other than correcting a societal wrong, if we look at it as something other than creating an opportunity for New Yorkers to participate in an economy legally, where in the past they have been penalized for participating in it, if instead we look at it as a revenue source, we will make mistakes along the way. And the governor insists on looking at it as a revenue source. We will continue to resist that. In fact, one of the things we discussed last night is where the proceeds should go from any tax revenue from the legalization of adult use marijuana. And I want to emphasize that term, if you don't mind. A lot of people call it recreational marijuana, but 55% of all adults over 21 have said they will not use it primarily for recreational purposes, but will use it for other purposes, such as appetite enhancement, sleep, relaxation, therapeutic reasons, not quite medical. When you go to people over 55, that number jumps to about 75%. So it's not recreational, it's adult use. And the industries that will emerge from that can enrich New York State, can provide opportunities for small businesses, or can become the victim of big weed, corporate-owned entities that will basically siphon the money out of New York and do even worse than what the illegal trade has done to our economy. So we're focused very much on the economic aspect of it, but also want to make sure that the resources that are developed from that for the state are used for the right purposes. Enhancing law enforcement. We don't want people driving high and driving. We want to enhance the opportunity for rehabilitation services and preventative mental health services. We want to make sure that the economic impact on those communities that were hardest hit by the prohibition begin to get repaired. So we're moving forward. In terms of the optimism about this year, absolutely optimistic about this year, probably not in the budget. I will tell you that it's likely that we in the Assembly will pass the version of our bill next week.
And Kevin, if you would, on that subject, I'm sure you have been looking at other states and their successes and some of their failures in crafting your legislation. Anything in particular you've seen that you know New York State should not be doing?
Yeah, we shouldn't be Colorado. Let's not be Colorado, where marijuana use is actually increased. Other states like Massachusetts and Washington State, where marijuana use has been exactly the same as it was before. Ironically, marijuana use in Washington State is lower per capita than it is in Colorado, but revenue in Washington State is higher. We have learned lessons from several states. We're not the first one to do this. We're probably someplace in the teens or the 20s of full legalization. And so we've had a lot of examples to look at. I think we're happy with the Massachusetts model. I think we're relatively happy with the Canadian model and the Washington State model, and those will be the bases upon which we'll move forward. More importantly, we will make sure that there's an oversight panel that includes representatives of the entire state, not just folks who work in the executive chamber, keeping an eye on things and making the adjustments along the way to make it work.
And if I can, there is a follow-up question on Facebook. In regards to marijuana legislation, a big challenge that even currently approved cannabis businesses find is using financial services from credit unions and banks. How can it be ensured that state chartered institutions can help these and other cannabis businesses that may be approved in the future?
Well, that's a very important question, Ward, and one that I've been working on for the last 18 months of putting together a proposal that would allow businesses to safely and securely use financial institutions. It is our great hope that the federal government, Congress, will reschedule marijuana so that it's possible to use the federal banking system. But even our state chartered banks and our state chartered credit unions, and there are very few of them, use federal resources and are therefore prohibited. The Department of Financial Services superintendent has assured us that she is ready to put together a set of guidelines and rules that would permit our marijuana businesses to use our financial institutions in some reasonable way. I have yet to see that proposal. That's why I'm continuing to draft mine.
And Michelle, further comments on this subject?
I agree. I'm actually really excited to see the proposal and the legislation that the Assemblyman is drafting. I'm thinking to myself, we should be pushing this forward too, because it is a topic that we talk about a lot. But I think, as I said, we're really optimistic about this. And I think the opportunity, especially for upstate, is huge. The economic opportunity for upstate is huge as it pertains both to our farming business and agriculture, as well as new types of entrepreneurial opportunities for people here. So we're really excited about it.
Okay, a veterans question for both of you, a follow-up to the Hudson Valley Center for Veteran Reintegration. Earlier this month, they held a press conference and wondering if there's any progress in funding the Dwyer program to assist veteran reintegration back into civilian life after military service. Either of you?
I'm happy to jump in. The Dwyer program is a critical program. We are incredibly lucky that Senator Metzger and others, I'm sure the Assemblyman, pushed to include Ulster in this as we expand the program. And I was actually very much looking forward to try to expand it into Greene County and some of our counties across our district that didn't have it, obviously pre-pandemic. We are pushing as hard as we can to make sure that we get this funding. We've been in touch with our counterparts in the legislature as well as the governor's office. We need that funding here and we need it now. We need to support our veterans. We put it in our budget letter. We're making it a priority and, happy to talk with anyone in that sphere to give a little more details, but we are absolutely pushing for this and we need to expand this program.
And likewise, Michelle mentioned budget letters, and budget letters are part of the process that we're involved with right now. Each member of the legislature sits down with the governor's budget proposal, goes through what he is suggesting and what he is leaving out, and we make our own recommendations. Our budget letter included full funding for the Dwyer program, and in particular mentioned, that, as Michelle did, the important impact it's had on our community. We've been in touch. Members of our staff have been in meetings with representatives of veteran advocacy groups, and they all emphasize the importance of that program. So we're going to keep pushing for it. I'm feeling very good that we'll be able to get full funding.
Great. Thoughts on businesses and individuals leaving the Empire State, and any thoughts on how you and your respective houses can stem that tide. We seem to be a one-way trip to Florida for a lot of New York State residents. What's going on?
Kevin?
Well, we can't improve the weather, and that's one of the big reasons people go there. I know I saw a couple people in the chat who I know are writing from Florida, that's a very big and something we shouldn't discount. The fact that the weather here is sometimes very challenging, and now with climate change, what used to be a little storm turns out to be sometimes a debilitating storm. Separate and apart from that, Ward, there's a lot else we can do. I believe that the number one thing we can do to make New York State business friendly is to have an able, capable, and ready workforce. And the way we have an able, capable, and ready workforce is to invest in education, primary, secondary, and also higher education. In our office, we've taken an initiative with our municipal assistance money to go to SUNY New Paltz and put technology in every single school in our assembly district. And in a few schools outside of our assembly district as well. We've worked with the Benjamin Center in New Paltz to make sure that those technology centers are effective and have a career path leading to the engineering program and the science and tech programs at New Paltz, and then ultimately back out to industry. What else can we do? I think it's long overdue for us to examine all of our economic development programs, whether they be local pilots or tax credits, and determine the efficacy on a real-time basis. And then once we do that, we can start to look at those that we can eliminate once and for all and reduce the overall tax burden for everyone. Senator Kruger and I, Liz Kruger and I, have a proposal to take a look at all of the fossil fuel tax breaks that we give in New York State to people who are being paid to pollute. We think the number could be as high as $4 billion. So we're asking the state legislature and the governor to take a hard look at that. There are pockets like that all through the budget where special interests have been able to get tax breaks to the detriment of the rest of us. So getting our tax system under control is very important.
And I would add two things to that. I totally agree. One of the places I would expand to is apprenticeship programs. You know, we have an aging population across our state, and we have to make sure that we are attracting and giving young people opportunities into good paying middle class jobs without the extreme cost burden of higher education as it sometimes comes, and make sure that they can get into these apprenticeship programs. So making stronger ties with our BOCES and our labor organizations into our high schools. There are a number of things. We've been talking with a lot of different organizations and our labor unions and others to figure out how we can strengthen these ties, because we have a lot of job opportunities here, but we are not connecting the dots for young people to stay in our communities. The other thing I would add too is infrastructure. You know, how do we expect people to stay in a community that doesn't have access to reliable broadband, right? Of course, we are leaving people behind. How can you expect people to stay in a community that doesn't have access to reliable water? You know, these are things. We have crumbling infrastructure, and we've invested in other places. We're looking at false information, you know. When we hear the governor talk about broadband and he says our state is 98% covered, I think we can all agree that that number is inaccurate. So we have to get an accurate count of which households are covered, where the gaps are, which ones are not, and hold the companies accountable who said they've covered 98% of our state, but haven't. They have to run internet to our communities, and especially our more rural communities where the cost burden is high for the companies. They're trying to put that cost burden on people who live there. I wouldn't want to spend $30,000 to run internet to my house if I can move somewhere where it comes with the territory, you know? And so we've got to make sure that people here across our state have the tools they need to be successful and to continue to live here.
Well, I can't underscore that enough. That's probably the number one complaint we hear from people moving up from the city as they're opening their businesses here. Where's my broadband?
Ward, let me just jump in on the broadband issue. The governor has proposed a $15 minimum broadband access for everyone in the state of New York. That minimum broadband access is 25 MIPS. 25 MIPS would not sustain this conference. So we have to take a hard look at making sure we bring serious and real access to broadband to everyone in the state. It is no different in 2021 than electricity was in 1921. And it's time that we recognize it as that, whether it means creating public utilities to do it or developing systems that we require our providers to reach out to those parts of the community where they are not, and also holding them in particular to significantly higher reliability standards. I think all that matters. In addition to all that, getting access to people of limited means is very important. We learned that with our remote learning this year, that so many kids just didn't even have internet in their house, not let alone broadband, didn't have internet. And when they did, they didn't have the devices to access it. So the time has come to make that part of our basic living.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both very, very much for your time today. We're just about out of time. Kevin Cahill, Michelle Hinchey, thank you again. Let's make a plan to do this on a more regular basis. We really appreciate your insight and look forward to doing this again real soon.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And Michelle, equal time, your mom, another sweetheart of ours, she's watching today. So we'll send a shout out to her as well as to Kevin's mom today.
Hi, Mom.
So thanks again. All right. Have a great afternoon. Thanks so much to Kevin Cahill and Michelle Hinchey again. Thanks to our sponsor as well, our good friends at Casco Hudson Bank. And thanks for the exceptional technical support, Radio Kingston in particular, Cal Capishillan, who is our partner in these broadcasts. Ending as we always do on a positive note, the Chamber of Commerce wants to recognize all the amazing restaurants and delis and diners and caterers in the Ulster County region, because we are truly blessed to have so many fantastic places to enjoy. Just about 1 year ago, we launched Ulster Eateries United, giving the Chamber a platform to promote our local restaurants. And to date, we have more than 11,500 members of UEU. And last month, the admin of Ulster Eateries, Jess Davis, began visiting our members, sampling their food and posting her videos on Facebook. This segment, called Jess Delicious, has been a tremendous success. Hundreds of comments, dozens of shares, thousands of views, all to promote our amazing local restaurants. Right here is a list of all the places Jess has visited so far. Her goal is to visit each and every Chamber member restaurant in 2021. You can do that?
I'm committed.
She's either committed or she's going to be. So great news. It is just a delight to be able to watch Jess as she goes around Ulster County, checking out our wonderful eateries. And on another positive note, all businesses in Ulster County also have a platform they can use to promote their goods, products, or services. It's called Ulster Small Businesses United. We launched that also just about a year ago, and we invite local businesses to promote your business there, and all the consumers of local products. This Facebook group is for you too, to talk about the positive experiences you've had at one of our local small businesses. Finally, this morning, a special thank you to the Chamber's outstanding 2021 corporate sponsors, beginning with our corporate leaders. Thank you so much. Our corporate partners. And these are our corporate supporters and our sustaining sponsors. Our 2021 corporate sponsors. Thank you all so very much. And a final reminder, join us next month for our next virtual breakfast meeting on St. Patrick's Day, a true Irish celebration with live Irish music featuring the T McCann Band. That is our program for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe and be well. Thank you.